Women's Power to Heal Mother Earth. This is Maya Tiwari. Today I speak to you of the silence of the spirit, or the spirit of silence. The death of a year, the loss of dreams, a longing for happier times, regrets of missed chances, perhaps even the cremation of hope. Furling ashes over a pasture of woad, set in motion by nature's palpable silence. Her wavering silence resounded through the heart, in winter's distant promise of blossoming flowers. Now the properly cold gleaming through the leaves and branches, the sanguine clouds, fumy air, vast space, igneous rocks, and the blackened soils, all emulating the silence of precipitous tears on the morning grass. I long for silence. For silence heals. It revives spirit. Silence reminds me of my immortal self. So be still. Listen to the hushing sounds before the silence and observe. By observing, we become still. Stillness is the secret of the trees and the mountains. They are in no hurry to accelerate the process of becoming. When you bathe in the moonlight, you become the moonlight. When you sit in the forest, you become the essence of trees. When you climb a mountain, you become the mountain. These are all the essential stillness and quiet motion. As we observe nature, we allow ourselves to become transformed into the birthing silence, into the silence that also berases the death of one thing or another. Stillness is the gift of awareness. Every morning we take a bath, we sit in ourselves for a few minutes and allow the inner terrain to become vacant, voided, to receive the love and the light and the infinite wisdom of the universe. We also, in this time, allow pain to pass. We are simply living in the grace of being. If there is anger, give it room to resound. Give it a field in which it can play itself out. Because even anger resides in the silence. Know that it is from the lack of cognition of ourself that all negative emotions appear. So in silence, we can direct and dissolve it. We can give the natural grace to our presence. We can give in to the illimitable, infinite zone of silence and breathe. Vimala Thakur said that solitude, silence, and freedom are the nourishers of life. We think we are nourishing ourselves with words and ideas, thoughts, but these things are the content of consciousness. They are not the content of reality. As I speak, I expend breath through the words and longing for silence. We expend breath while speaking, thinking, doing. Even in deep silence, breath is spent. The Vedas tell us that there are many thousands of breaths granted to us as we serve the rosary of one lifetime. And when this ration of breath is used, the physical body ceases to be. We can spend our words and deeds wisely if we were to hum along with the universe and trail her aura into junctional silence. The greatest act of contentment and joy is to sit in our own being, in that stillness. Silence is the last boon given after all lessons of the cosmos had been learnt. It is difficult to begin the act of silence when the mind is actively conquering the manifested world, and our bodies are busy chasing after the ghost of time. We shut ourselves out of existence in this way, and the only penance to re-enter is to sit in the self and observe the wavering silence of nature until such time as we can enter the boon of the unwavering self. This penance is not really a penance, in fact it is a gift. The mind does not easily empty itself of its sticky thoughts. But in time, as we sit from time to time during the day and allow everything to be emptied from the mind and the heart, we begin to observe thoughts. Let them go as we dive deep into the exquisite zone of silence. Here we can discover, without thinking or thoughts or actions, that which is real. Tat Tvam Asi. If there is anger or fear or turmoil, sit with it. Let it conjure up its devastating images. Let it show you its darkest hour. Let it turn every rope into a snake, and then let it be. Sit with it until silence overtakes it. And silence does, with our intent. If there is hate, allow it to rear its ugly head. Look at it in the face and acknowledge it. See your eyes reflecting in the thing or the one you hate. See your face full of hate. See the body distorted by hate. Hold the image for a while, and when you can no longer hold it, let it go. Send light to the image, to the memory of what you've just experienced. Send light. Be light. Sit and allow the body to become calm and unfolding itself. Sit within yourself and be still. Sit and allow the chords of universal memory to shimmer in harmony with yourself. And be still. Silence has many qualities. We can be in silence because of loss, because of resentment, because of anger. We can retreat in silence because of longing. We can retreat in silence for many reasons. But in essence, the true silence is to be empty. Empty of all the emotions and needs and desires. Empty within the self. To simply be. Science is discovering what the great ancients knew all along. Silence has been found to stimulate the brain growth. A study into brain structure and function found that a minimum of 2 hours of silence could result in the creation of new brain cells. Imagine the ceaseless attentional demands of our modern life put a significant strain on the prefrontal cortex of the brain, which is involved in high-order thinking, decision-making, and problem-solving. As a result, our attentional resources have become drained and depleted, which examines our collective state of disease, fatigue, and inability to focus. It explains that. The scientific research informs that the default mode network of the brain, which is the prefrontal cortex, is activated when we engage in what scientists call the self-generated cognition, such as sitting in silence, meditating, or just allowing the mind to roam about. When the brain is disengaged from its external stimuli, we can tap into the inner resources of silence. Keen observation and our lucid memory becomes alive. Engaging the brain in this way helps us to have meaningful experiences. And it grows a sense of companionship, cooperation, and compassion. It turns out that noise pollution, which includes the inner chatter of a restless mind, has been found to lead to high blood pressure, heart attacks, as well as hearing impairments. There is no doubt that loud noises in our society, in our civilization, raise the stress levels by activating the brain's amygdala and causing the release of stress hormones, cortisol, according to research. Environmental psychologist Dr. Craig Zimring suggests that the higher noise levels in neonatal intensive care units led to elevated blood pressure, increased heart rates, and disrupted patient sleep patterns. Florence Nightingale in the 19th century once wrote that unnecessary noise is the most cruel absence of care that can be inflicted on the sick or the well. Research is finding out all the time what the Vedic seers have told us, and that is that silence has the opposite effect of stress. It releases tension in the brain and the body, but it goes far beyond that. It is relaxing for the body and the brain just to listen to beautiful music, which lowers blood pressure. Periods of silence throughout our day enhance sleep, the quality of our sleep. Lowering sensory input helps us to restore our ability to concentrate and, in general, improve our cognitive resources. And the poets had other ways to put it. But the efficacy of silence for not just spiritual gain, but just to revive body, mind, memory, just to revitalize our organism in this highly taut, tense, stressful modern environment is so necessary. 10 times a day, a few minutes at a time of deliberate silence would be so helpful to all of us. Edgar Allan Poe says there is a twofold silence: body and soul, or sea and shore. One dwells in lonely places, newly with grass o'ergrown, some sullen graces, some human memories and tearful lore render him terrorless, his name no more. D.H. Lawrence in The Silence of Loss tells us, "Since I lost you, I am silence haunted. Sound waves little wings, a moment, then in weariness settle on the flood that soundless swings. Whether the people in the street like patterning ripples go by, or whether the theater sighs and sighs with a loud, hoarse sigh. But silence is not just about loss. It isn't about resentment and anger. It isn't about being thrown into the world of speechlessness. It isn't about being adroit. It is simply about observing. It is simply the death of the self in certain ways. It is the death of the voice. It is the death of ideas that no longer serve us. It is the cremation of all things that belong to the past. That everything that has tethered the mind, the body, the heart, and the soul to be cremated, to be let go of. So silence is golden. There is no substitute for the expression of silence. Not silence from just not speaking, not silence from being rendered speechless, not silence with a tumultuous mind in turmoil, but silence as we let go of the mind, as we let go of attachments and expectations, as we let go of what has already become the past. Silence in the ease of goodbyes. Silence deep within us. Reclaim it. And may peace be your journey. Thank you for listening.